Hi, this is Kevin Deal. Today we're going to take a look at the PrimaLuna ProLogue Premium Power Amp. I was looking at the review written in Stereophile magazine by Herb Reichert. You know, Herb is one of the most experienced audio journalists in the world. And it's an interesting story how he came to ask to review this amp. He was writing a review of a speaker called the Falcon Acoustics LS35A. It's an iconic speaker made in England that's very difficult to drive. It's 83 dB efficient, so it's a little power sucker. And he loved it. He asked the importer, Steve Davis, what is it that you use when you're demoing this speaker at shows to make it sound its best? And Steve told him, we use a PrimaLuna ProLogue Premium. So Herb reached out to us and asked about the price of the ProLogue Premium. He asked if we had something that was a little bit less expensive than that. So we sent him this amplifier. And I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out, but when I read what he said, first I want to say something. He used this amp with a lot of different speakers. He used it with high efficiency speakers from Zoo. He used it with KEF LS50s. He used it with the Falcon Acoustics LS35As, and it worked flawlessly. He finished the review by saying this: PrimaLuna's ProLogue Premium has become my new reference, low power, high value amplification. Class A sound at a Class C price. Those are big words. So how does it happen? I'm going to show you. He talks about the bass response of this amp. It's only 36 watts per channel, but you're going to find that it's going to have better bass slam than 100 watt amps from other manufacturers. And that is because of output transformers. Power doesn't mean anything. We want low power because we don't want to push the tubes. We want to extend tube life. We're concerned with bandwidth. You can have all the power in the world. If the output transformers don't transmit, don't communicate that power to the speakers, you're not going to get bottom end. PrimaLuna designs and winds their output transformers in-house. And that is half magic and it is half science. And our engineers have done an amazing job. There's 3 different taps on the output transformer, so you can hook it up with a wide array of speakers. You've got a 4 ohm tap, an 8 ohm tap, and a 16 ohm tap. Now, if you run these amps as monoblocks and want to double the power, the speaker taps become 2 ohm taps, 4 ohm taps, and 8 ohm taps. Very popular with people that have electrostatic and ribbon speakers. You can go from 36 watts up to 48 watts by using different tubes. So you can plug in anything you want. KT88, KT120, even the huge, massive KT150s. Don't feel for a second that you need to do that, though. Go to our website. We've got information on tube rolling. Most people just stay with the L34s because they are heavenly. In the front end, we use 12 AU7 tubes because we don't want to use 6H30s. There's only one kind of 6H30 made in one factory. If that factory goes out of business, you are going to be stuck. Plus, there's no way to fine-tune the sound of the amplifier. There are more 12AU7s made by different factories around the world than any other part. So if you want to give this amplifier a little tweak to get a little more sparkle or warm it up just a little bit, change these 2 tubes in the front end and you can do anything you want. You can even explore the world of new old stock vintage tubes. 12AU7s are the most plentiful and they're the least expensive because of that. Let's look inside and see what's happening. We talked about the output transformers being wide bandwidth. Let's talk about the power transformer. PrimaLuna uses toroidal power transformers in all of their products. I can't think of another manufacturer that does because they cost too much. They cost 5 or 6 times more than a regular C-core transformer. But the benefit is toroidal transformers don't radiate noise into the other circuitry. They don't radiate EMI. It drops the noise floor. But to make sure that the transformers are as quiet as possible, PrimaLuna uses something that's called potting. The transformers are placed into a special metal can using an epoxy that keeps the transformers from vibrating and creating acoustic noise. The reason is you want to protect this transformer from the elements. It's an expensive part. But the other reason is by potting, we're eliminating vibrations coming into the atmosphere and just creating that little bit of noise in your room. This is the adaptive auto bias board. It is not just about eliminating biasing. It is about performance because it is truly adaptive and no one else has that. So when the tubes age, one of the tubes is going to age sooner than the other ones. So adaptive auto bias is going to see that, and it's going to work really hard to make sure that you don't hear any sonic degradation because of it. The other thing that it looks for is something that is called pinch off. That occurs when tubes are being pushed to their limit. And adaptive auto bias is going to do its very, very best to make sure that distortion is reduced. In fact, at the highest volume levels, distortion is reduced by over 50%. It's also where the protection circuitry lies. So, with other amps, if you lose a tube because of a tube short, and it's going to happen, you're going to lose a cathode resistor or a screen resistor, something's going to break, and you're going to take it to the UPS or FedEx counter. In a PrimaLuna, there's a relay that opens up here. The first time it senses problem, this relay opens up. It puts the amplifier into protection. A little red LED lights up in front of the bad tube. You simply turn the amp off, plug in another tube, and go. You don't even have to use the right tube because adaptive auto bias is so smart. You could run an EL34, KT88, KT120, and KT150 all at the same time. Now, of course, you wouldn't want to do that, but you should know that this engineering is so smart, it'll allow that to happen. Now, no other amplifier is going to sound like a PrimaLuna because of this. Point-to-point wiring. The entire signal path is point-to-point wiring. No printed circuit boards. Printed circuit boards are not your friend. If you take a tube socket, which is very hot, and mount it to a PCB, the heat from the tube eventually is going to cause problems for the PCB, especially when you're taking tubes in and out, because you're going to be flexing the board. And over a period of time, you end up with cracks. You have to put jumpers over traces. I mean, it's very common to have that kind of problem. Look inside a PrimaLuna, and you're going to see all the tube sockets are on ventilated panels bolted to the chassis. Bolted to the chassis. Compare it to what anybody else does. It is built to last a lifetime. But more important, point-to-point wiring gives this amplifier soul. No other product is going to sound like a PrimaLuna. I know it's hard to believe that an amplifier that costs so little can be so good, but it is absolutely true. I just read another review and they said, how does PrimaLuna do it? We don't think that this is a miracle. We think that other manufacturers are charging too much money and they can do better. Buy something that is built to last a lifetime. Buy something that the reviewers choose to use themselves. The PrimaLuna ProLogue Premium.